going on, guys? Chris, SVT Garage, and I'm in a bit of a pickle today. So I decided to take the car out for a ride, kind of just enjoy Sunday, and I am stranded right now with this thing. Long story short, my fuel pump went, and it died on, I'll show you guys where it died here. Main road right there, US 19. I was coming up to this red light and it just lost all power. So I had to push it. See where that white car is, that white SUV, had to push it from there, make a U-turn, get it up in here. Had to do it by myself, and well, my girl's driving it, but here we are. So luckily this parking lot was here, so I kind of had like a safer place to get the car. And how I figured out was the fuel pumps. Was kind of scratching my head for about 10 minutes, and then ended up finding out that there's no pressure on the gauge, so it was cranking up but not firing. So I knew something was going on. Checked the fuse here, it was good, and came back here, started tearing this apart, and fuses back in there are fine as well. Trying to check some grounds. There's just so much I can do here. I'm just not coming up with anything. So essentially the fuel pumps are not turning on. Again, I can't even hear them, and then I have no pressure up there at the gauge, so it should be reading about 40, but it is not the case. It's just not, it's got nothing. So car's down again, unfortunately, and it's just stupid little things that are keeping this thing from being driven. I got a tow truck on its way now, and get this thing home, and the next video, or I should say this video, will be that those pumps getting switched out. Kind of my fault. I've had them for about 11 years, 10 years in there, so they are due for a change. But long story short, guys, we will continue this when I get this thing back home. So this is about 2 hours later. He was having trouble with getting the chains on it, on the body right there. So got it loaded up, and we are off to the house. So have to get this thing fixed and back on the road. All right, guys, we are working on the car today. Ryan came over, came in clutch. I'm talking 7 minutes, possible, if that. We got the whole trunk torn out. He's over here looking at wires, like, nope, nope, wrong, 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 and tested the relay.
Thought it was a bad relay at first. We had power going in, but no power coming out, and then...
So he tested here, power here, no power here. So then took both wires, put them on the power side of it that we had power, pumps turn on immediately.
Yep.
Then I go to start the car, and I'm like, hey dudes, there's a bunch of dashes where the odometer would be. Mm-hmm. And he goes, go up in the fuse box, blown PCM. Yep. Fuse here. So tracking that down, I believe that's going to be the fix. So number 30 up in here. Again, if you guys have an issue like that, that's what it is. So we're going to go run to the store, grab one of these guys. I don't have one laying around, unfortunately. Come right back, and hopefully this thing fires up. And that would be... This dude right here is like a mad scientist with these cars. So I appreciate it, brother. And, well, absolutely. Let's go figure this out, and we'll get this thing back on the road. All right, so Ryan just left maybe about 15 minutes ago. I had ran to the store to get some fuses and found the issue, but now we are dealing with another issue. So whatever's popping the fuse is still causing it to pop, because this is the new one. Let's see if we can get in some light here. So you can see that one's popped. And put it in, heard the pumps turn on like they should, and within a matter of 2 seconds it ate this guy. So ordered some more. I'm working on this car over here, doing a ceramic on this, so I'm kind of tied up right now. He's coming back towards the end of the week. Today is Tuesday, so probably around Friday. We're going to have to, unfortunately, dive into this a little more and figure out what's causing it to pop. It could be a ground somewhere. The computer might be loose. Something's jostling around with that. This all happened was there was some road construction. And when I was driving, I went over, I don't want to say a bump, it was more like a hump. It was just like a, like a divot in the road. And I noticed that right after that happened, I kind of felt the car like hiccup. Like it, like just kind of just stopped for a second. I was like, oh, that's weird. Continued driving, and then 10 seconds later, if that, that's why I was like, oh, something's up. And it just, I eventually made it to a red light, the one that I pointed to earlier in this, which is across streets. Kind of sucks. That's a really main thoroughway here. You guys in Florida, US 19, it's a busy road. But anyways, so I think what happened is when I went over that, again, it was a hump. It wasn't even like a bump or a pothole. They're doing road construction, so the road's uneven. Something just moved just right, and it's causing the computer to pop. So gonna have to do some digging. Stay tuned for that. Well, that'll be later in this video. You guys will see that. Hopefully we get this thing figured out. Again, unfortunately, I just got this customer waiting on this thing, and he's gonna go get his kid from school. So, this is not what we do full time. This is what kind of do inside. So life has to come first. So, but we will get this figured out. He's like, hey man, don't worry, I'm pretty good with wiring, which makes me feel good because I'm not. It's not my forte. He's confident, so Ryan does do really good work. But I'm glad. I think I'm glad. I might be glad it's not the pumps, because I left the gas station. This thing's full of E85. It's topped off. I didn't even get a mile down the road. So we got all this tore out. Had to put the battery back in just to get some power down here. But again, hopefully this is an easier fix than changing out the pumps. But this is an old setup we have here. There's no hop switch on it. Both pumps are running full time. I'm probably just, because again, this whole setup is probably 10 to 11 years old. I'm gonna take these pumps out regardless, just because I don't. I think that's a pretty decent amount of time for these pumps. And then I think I'm just gonna go ahead and upgrade the whole fuel system. It does have a lethal budget kit, but again, 10 years ago. Ryan did put a 4 fuel kit on his, so I think I'll end up just doing that. But for now, I just want to get this thing back on the road and figure out what's popping this fuse, and then just continue from there. But we'll keep moving on this, guys. Again, the telltale sign that I didn't catch right away was the fact that the where it would display your mileage, it was just a bunch of lines. And then I was like, hey dude, this don't look normal. So then we kind of, again, looked underneath the fuse box up front there, and found it right away. So, but again, guys, we're gonna keep moving on this and keep you posted on what we found. All right, guys, we're about day, what do you think, 7 of this thing being down? Somewhere around a week. Ryan just got here. I got off work this morning, and we're kind of just working on this. So we got some stuff tracking down right now. Got the new fuse put in, but we're really just trying to figure out what's causing this this thing to keep popping the fuses. So as soon as we find out, we'll be getting a video of that, but we're gonna keep looking. All right, so first test is we're gonna key it on and see if it blows, or if it only does it when we try to crank it. So start. It blew. So it's blowing the fuse before we even try to crank it. It literally was like a half a second. So that gives us an idea of now where we need to work. Wow, look. That's so weird. All right, we'll keep this thing going. All right, test 2 now is the fuel pump solenoid is disconnected, new fuse. Let me know when you're ready.
Let me get a fuse.
All right, putting a new fuse in. I bought some cheap-ass Amazon ones for this reason, because they're $6 a piece, and these ones were like $6 for 20. Let me know, you ready? All right. Blue. So it's not that, not the solenoid.
Okay.
All right.
We're gonna have to.
All right, so what we're looking at now is gonna hop into the car. Ryan's under the car right now. And we are gonna look on the back of the heads and see if those noise canceling transformers are somehow grounding out, not plugged in or whatever. So that's what we're tracking down right now. All right, Ryan, tell us what we got.
So far, we disconnected the fuel pumps. It's still popping the fuse. We disconnected the CCRM and the fuse didn't pop. Reconnected that because that kills power to the ECU and everything. We just disconnected the main engine harness this time and the fuse hasn't popped. So I'm thinking the short is somewhere in this main harness going to the engine. So we're going to try to start going through this and seeing.
So we're going to track that down that way. Okay.
All the grounds look good. All the wiring under the car going to the battery relocation and the starter looks good. All the wiring in the fender wells on both sides looks good. So we're just going to have to start with this and see what we can figure out.
All right, we'll start tracking. All right, moment of truth. We may or may not have found it. Stand by. Not popped. You want to try to start it? All right, let's get in here. We got everything else hooked up, right? Okay. All right, let's see what we got, dude. Bro. All right, so real quick, let's go over what this was. Silly. We got fender liners pulled out. We got PC. We got the computer off the fucking inside of this thing. What do we got here?
The idle air control harness had gotten pushed up against the dryer, and it rubbed through the harness and
let's show what we got here.
Was grounding out on the dryer. So the AC.
Correct. So we pull off the main engine harness, trying to find a pin location for what? 15 minutes.
We were going through and looking at the pin out on the main engine harness.
He's in here and he sees...
Because when we disconnected that, we stopped blowing the fuse. So that told us that the short was somewhere in that main engine harness.
Somewhere over here. So you got an AC line right here, right?
Yep.
And it's pushing down on the back of the IAC.
Yep.
Right here on this pin.
Wore through that wire and the IAC was grounding out on the AC line.
IAC was grounding out on the AC line, blowing the fuse. And as you guys just saw, the car started up. I mean, we have wheels pulled off. We got fender liners out. We're in here tracking down all these wires. And it's that damn IAC.
Yep.
So, all right. Now we just got to clean that up and
put it back together.
Put it back together. All right, guys, let's get this thing back on the ground. Ryan, that was a huge win. Thank you, my dude. This thing's been down unnecessarily for like a week, so I do appreciate it. But again, we're going to get this thing back together, get on the ground, and we'll go from there. We'll get this thing started back up. Stay tuned. All right, moment of truth. We may or may not have found it. Stand by. Not popped. You want to try to start it? All right, let's get in here. We got everything else hooked up, right? Okay. All right, let's see what we got, dude. Bro. All right, so real quick, let's go over what this was. Silly. We got fender liners pulled out. We got PC. We got the computer off the fucking inside of this thing. What do we got here?
The idle air control harness had gotten pushed up against the dryer, and it rubbed through the harness and
let's show what we got here.
Was grounding out on the dryer. So the AC.
Correct. So we pull off the main engine harness, trying to find a pin location for what? 15 minutes.
We were going through and looking at the pinout on the main engine harness.
He's in here and he sees...
Because when we disconnected that, we stopped blowing the fuse. So that told us that the short was somewhere in that main engine harness.
Somewhere over here. So you got an AC line right here, right?
Yep.
And it's pushing down on the back of the IAC.
Yep.
Right here on this pin.
Wore through that wire and the IAC was grounding out on the AC line.
IAC was grounding out on the AC line, blowing the fuse. And as you guys just saw, the car started up. I mean, we have wheels pulled off. We got fender liners out. We're in here tracking down all these wires. And it's that damn IAC.
Yep.
So, all right. Now we just got to clean that up and
put it back together.
Put it back together. All right, guys, let's get this thing back on the ground. Ryan, that was a huge win. Thank you, my dude. This thing's been down unnecessarily for like a week, so I do appreciate it. But again, we're going to get this thing back together, get on the ground, and we'll go from there. We'll get this thing started back up. Stay tuned. All right, guys, pried up the AC dryer line here. This is 100% touching it. You can see right there, if I get that to zoom in, that was my issue. Grounding out, popping the fuse. So now we're gonna tackle this thing. So if you guys are having any issues close to that, and you got a big blower on there, start there. All right, guys, it's, I don't know, 2 hours maybe? What do you think?
Yeah.
About 2 hours later, and the car is done, it's complete, starts up, not blowing fuses. Where's those fuses at? I went through some, I went to Amazon. I was like, let me just buy some cheap ones. I got like 20 of these ones for $6, $7. And as you can see, all of them are blown. Every time we put the key on, we try something else, blown, blown, blown. And that was the issue. This psychopath, Ryan, told me from the get-go, like, don't worry about it. I like wiring. And he's pretty good at it. I'll give him that. I was like, hey, man, you say so. We got this. We got some clearance down here now. Got the dryer line out of the way. Got that thing all electrical taped up. And it is starting and running and doing all that on its own without any issues. Got everything put back together. Got the computer all put back in the car. We had taken, not taken it out, but just making sure it was not the issue. The only thing I'm going to do later on here is just get all the trunk stuff put back in, because this is where we started, because obviously you got the pumps back here, and I originally thought it was a pump. Now, hey, best case scenario, this is a lot better than dropping the tank and doing the pumps. Yeah, so, best case. But hey, man, it's always good to have some friends around that can help you with your cars and stuff, and Ryan came through clutch. He's got the knowledge, he's got the, you know, the know-how, and just the tools.
Gotta know how to use the voltmeter.
The voltmeter right there was, let me see this thing. This thing saved us. We were just poking and prodding everything we could.
That's where we were able to find the open short on the main engine harness.
And that was, and again, we had unplugged that main harness. Then we went key on, right? And then it did not pop the fuse. Right. So we narrowed it down to that harness here, the main one. And then we just started digging around in this general area, and again, lo and behold, that thing was pinching right up on that back of the IAC, that sensor, the plug there. So again, SVT Garage, guys, if you're having any kind of issues like that, it's a good, you know, a good spot to start, especially on a big blower car. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a while. I can't even tell you what the stock one. The IAC is up top, right?
On the Eatons.
It's on top of the Eaton. On the
Whipples,
yeah.
It's up top.
Small Whipples and the Eatons is up top. The bigger ones with the crusher, it's relocated to the side so that...
And that has the Cobra engineering plate on it, which moves it away from the strut tower, and the throttle position sensor has more clearance, but then you have clearance issues with the IAC.
The IAC, so that's where we were running into, but it's been on there for months, so it was just slowly, and I hit that one bump in the road, and that's all it took. But again, guys, SVT Garage... Comments, let me know if you guys are having any issues or ran into anything very similar. Comment below, like and subscribe. On to the next one. Thanks.